Welcome. Today we're going to be discussing the technique Repeating Mace, its execution, some of the things that can go wrong during its execution, things that you can do to compensate those issues, and things that you should know about the technique in general. So let's start out with the ideal phase. So the ideal phase is of a left hand push, or it could also be done of a punch. The idea here is our zone of action is going to be on the outside of the left. So the first thing that we're going to do is do a left outward parry while zoning to the right rear flank to deliver our inward hammer fist, followed by the outward back knuckle, and then finishing the technique. So the first thing that can go wrong here is our height. I'm a lot shorter and he's a lot taller. Remember, there's a rule that says anytime we're on the outside of the arm, we're going to be at or above the elbow. The problem here is if I try to block through his elbow with my left hand, if you notice, his hand's already at my face. So the only way to block here with the left would be if I'm a lot taller and I can reach farther, or by picking up the wrist and not worrying about the elbow. So the problem with that is, as I start to do the technique, he bends his elbow, and now I'm getting hit. So a way to compensate for that would be two different ways to do that. So one would be to pick up the block with the right hand, as opposed to the left, using the left hand as an insert to strike the elbow before being able to control it and doing our third hand. The other one would be to stick to the ideal phase using the left hand to block at the wrist, then utilizing the right hand to strike the elbow to control it before we get our third hand. So the next thing that can go wrong here, or that you should think about, is where we're stepping. So a lot of times we step to the corner because this is related to reversing mace, where we're going up the circle to get our shoulder and alignments closer to our opponent. We don't have to do that in this technique, so you might want to actually stay on the line of attack and block off the line of attack instead of moving ourselves off the line of attack and blocking onto the line of attack, because that's going to be more chances of them utilizing their elbow and taking advantage of you being in a bad stance. So we're going to stick to the insert where we're doing the right hand blocks and the left hand strikes. But now let's talk about two things that you got to consider. While we're doing this maneuver, notice where our hands are. So point of origin on the ideal phase, our hand starts low, and we deliver the strikes from point of origin. If we add the inserts to compensate for the elbow, now our point of origin is high. So I'm either starting it from here to deliver the strike, or if I was to do the second variation, where I'm blocking with the left hand and striking, I'm starting from here, again, from a high instead of a low. So the next thing is the outward back knuckle. We do this part here with the hammer fist. Remember, this is not a glance. I want this to hit. And then I deliver this without any torque. The idea here is reversing mace did counter rotational torque. To deliver the back knuckle, we're now going to use direct rotational torque. So I want to make sure my body turns in to deliver that strike. Now keep in mind that while I was talking about the torque, I gapped, which is a bad thing. I don't want to gap. Remember, we're trying to do a third handing, keeping this elbow anchored when we deliver the strikes, but I was purposely doing that so it's easier for you guys to see what's going on down here. So once we deliver the back knuckle, if you wanted to enhance it, you could also do this as elastic recoil, where I bounce off my own body to deliver the strike. Now keep in mind, if you're going to do that, you could also do that as counter rotational torque, but the ideal phase is to do direct rotational torque for the strike. Circling my hand to get the check, so the next thing that can go wrong here is my kick. I can kick in the wrong line, or I can kick without enhancing the power by utilizing the torque. So what I mean by that, if I kick directly across, that's not a good angle to kick in the leg because I'm not taking advantage of that open-ended triangle on the back of his knee, and I'm not following the complementary angle. So the next thing that can go wrong is I torque to get the alignments and pause and then deliver the kick by itself, which again doesn't have the power of the torque. So what you want to do here is enhance it by utilizing the torque and then using our knee as a shock absorber to also aid on gravitational marriage to take advantage of it. So remember, we want to hit down at that 45, taking advantage of that complementary angle. So I'm going to kick, and that's going to take him all the way down to the ground. From there, you can cover out if you choose. So let's do that one more time. We'll switch directions. We'll do a quick walkthrough. Again, ideal face, both hands are down. We're picking up the outward parry with the strikes. We're zoning off. The idea now is we're going to stay on the line of attack. Either front hand picks up the block or the rear hand, but making sure we're controlling the elbow, so we're not eating the elbow because we're breaking the rule when we're on the outside of the arm. Remember, our zone of action in all three of those cases is staying on the outside of the left. Third hand, keep this as close as I can to my body, not glancing with the hammer fist. Direct rotational torque, whether you use elastic recoil or not, it's irrelevant. Remember, we're hitting with the knuckles. Check the hand, use the torque and the gravitational marriage to drop the kick, using that complementary angle down at a 45, and then cover out if you choose. Then we'll do it one more time in the original direction without the explanation. We hope this video helps you. Thank you very much.